Welcome back to the Operation Freedom YouTube channel. What we do here is shine the light of truth on the deep state. They hate that. We do it figuratively with our presentations. We do it literally with our sponsor's product, PatriotLegacy.com. PatriotLegacy.com, featured product of theirs, the Patriot Beacon. 6 overall lighting functions. In addition, solar powered, don't need batteries. You can charge your other devices like your phone from it. In addition, you got a compass, you got a window breaking hammer, and you got a seatbelt cutter. Plus, if those deep state dweebs get just a little bit too close to you, blast them with this. They're gone. Go to patrioticlegacy.com, patrioticlegacy.com. Get yourself, your kids, your grandkids, your car. Can carry it with you anytime. patrioticlegacy.com, the Patriot Beacon.
And there's a lot of meat there. Because remember, those who signed these FISA applications, the first 3 were signed by Comey. The last was signed by McCabe and Rosenstein. They signed them under penalty of perjury. If they signed them and knowingly with false information behind them, presenting them to the FISA court that, oh, this is all legit, then they're on the hook. And they're on the hook. Which is why you've heard Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tenzing, former federal prosecutors, and Sidney Powell saying, well, we think there are going to be some significant findings here. And in fact, through I.G. Horowitz's work already, from Zero Hedge, the FBI official under criminal investigation for fabricating evidence in the Russiagate probe. An FBI official, Kevin Kleinsmith, is under criminal investigation for fabricating evidence related to the agency's surveillance of the Trump campaign aide Carter Page. According to the sliver of report that was released last week, Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz's review of the FBI warrant applications under the FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, revealed an altered document. An altered document, which we assume was used to bolster the application to obtain the warrant and or subsequent renewals. Evidence of the fabricated document was turned over from Horowitz to Durham. Why did he do that? Because Horowitz can only say, this is what I found. He cannot prosecute anyone. He cannot indict anyone. But Durham can. He turned it over to John Durham, the federal prosecutor, tasked earlier this year by Attorney General William Barr with launching a broad investigation into the FBI's activities surrounding the 2016 U.S. election. Now, what does this mean? Well, this is really significant that Horowitz has already turned this over and identified that there was fabrication of the FISA applications. You see, if there was alteration, falsification, then everyone who signed off on these under penalty of perjury is on the hook. Again, Comey the first 3, McCabe and Rosenstein the 4th. And it also means everyone, including Robert Mueller and his entire team, is on the hook. If Horowitz knew and could see that these were altered, Robert Mueller, the 19 Trump-hating attorneys on his team, and the 40 FBI agents that were on his team were also aware of that fabricated evidence, and they are on the hook because they did not come forward and say, excuse me, there are falsified documents here. Now, something that's not discussed, that I have discussed, that I get in a lot of trouble about discussing, is the FISA Court itself. we need to look at these FISA court judges. Did they never ask the question, this Steele dossier thing, who's behind that? Do you know of anyone who was paid to get this done? And who is in charge of the FISA court? Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Judas Roberts. If Horowitz looked at those FISA applications, did the judges not look at them? Did Roberts not look at them? I mean, let's face it, this is not a standard FISA inquiry, right? This is an inquiry looking into the now President of the United States and his campaign. One would think the judges would have been much more hands-on, and Roberts would have been much more hands-on. Now, this is a big deal about this alteration of documents, but it's their business model. Unless you think that this Kleinsmith character was, repentant for what he did in altering a FISA document. This from Trending Politics. Emails show the FBI lawyer Kleinsmith, who doctored the Trump-Russian documents, bragged that he, quote, destroyed the republic, end quote. This is how sick, how truly sick these deep state puppets are. New released emails show that the FBI lawyer who doctored Trump-Russia-related documents, the FISA application, bragged to his colleagues that he had just, quote, destroyed the republic, end quote. Kevin Kleinsmith, who has been referred to the Department of Justice for prosecution by Horowitz over the FISA application documents that he altered, wrote to another FBI employee, quote, as I've initiated the destruction of the republic, would you be so kind as to have a coffee with me this afternoon, end quote. No, he actually was proud of this. I believe he sent that to Sally Moyer, who was another one of his cohorts, deep state puppets at the FBI, who he was having an affair with. We had Strzok having an affair with Page. We're having Kleinsmith having an affair with Moyer. You know, it really makes one wonder if these FBI officials, if they had put as much effort into their constitutional duties as much effort as they did into having affairs with each other and trying to destroy the republic, our country would be much better off. There are two names I also want you to keep under your hat and on your radar screen. And that is Michael Atkinson and Tichina Gower. They were both senior attorneys, counsels to the Assistant Attorney General of the National Security Division of the Department of Justice. The National Security Division of the Department of Justice, some underlings, still high up. Don't let them kid you that these were low-level. Kleinsmith and Moyer were low-level. They weren't low-level. No. But their immediate bosses were Michael Atkinson and Tichina Gower. Now, why should you keep them in mind? Because Atkinson, when he left the position as one of the senior counsels at the National Security Division of the Department of Justice, became the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community. He was the one who altered and backdated the whistleblower rules to allow this gossip blower to come forward in the Ukraine hoax. This guy's another deep state player. And lest you think that Tichina Gower is an innocent party in all this, well, this, from the Conservative Treehouse, great website, A few weeks ago, Tichina Gower was quietly removed from her position as lawyer for the Department of Justice National Security Division in charge of FISA applications. This removal happened immediately after Inspector General Michael Horowitz submitted his first draft report to Attorney General Bill Barr for classification review. She reportedly is no longer with the Department of Justice, and rumor has it working for, the Boeing Corporation. Keep those two names, Atkinson and Gower. Keep those on your radar screen, because they were the immediate supervisors of Kleinsmith and Moyer. Kleinsmith, the one who was really so pleased and proud of himself about just initiating the destruction of the Republic, as he put it. The bought-off lamestream fake media, of which the New York Times and the Washington Post are not talking about this. They're too busy running a psyops operation trying to tell you that nothing's going to happen out of the Inspector General's report. The sliver of the report that's already been released has already had significant ramifications. And all these individuals that are running around rubbing their hands saying nothing's happening, everybody's going to be left off the hook, are doing a disservice to you and the truth and our country. And now we have Lisa Page, Peter Strzok's main squeeze at the FBI. The emails that have been released between Strzok and Page, before from Horowitz, have been incredibly damaging to the deep state. And just as McCabe tried to get out in front of his, prior to Horowitz recommending his prosecution to the Department of Justice, Lisa Page is out there playing victim. Now remember, and we've discussed this, the predicate for General Flynn's prosecution was the 302 form. Now, the original 302, so when the FBI interviews, for example, General Flynn on January 24, 2017, he was interviewed by Peter Strzok and Joseph Piatenka. I know, sometimes I get his name pronounced wrong. Let's say Piatenka. It's already been shown, because Sidney Powell has pushed this issue about getting exculpatory evidence released that the Department of Justice is sitting on, that the original 302 form, the prosecutors admit, well, we can't find it. Yes, they can. It's in the Sentinel system. It's all there. They're just hiding it. But then they released 4 other 302 forms. So Piatenka and Strzok interview General Flynn, January 24th, 2017. And then what happens is that they get their notes together and they file a report. They had 5 days to do it, which would mean on January 29th. That's the one that's missing. But then all of a sudden, 302 forms start appearing. There should be one. There's 4 plus the missing one on February 10th, February 11th, February 14th, February 15th. This is all through the hard work of Sidney Powell. And every one of them is different and edited. And then the prosecutors have now come back based on Sidney Powell pushing them, saying, the notes that we thought were Strzok's were actually Piatenka's, and the ones that we thought were Piatenka's were actually Strzok's. And these were the notes that the 302 form was predicated upon. And then it came out that they were edited by who? Andrew McCabe, who's already been recommended for prosecution by Inspector General Horowitz, and Lisa Page, who's now saying she's a victim. Victim? She's a criminal. She wasn't even in the room. She altered the 302 forms to make it look like General Flynn lied to the FBI, which was the predicate to prosecuting him. This is like something out of East Germany before the Berlin Wall fell, or Mao's China, or Stalin's Soviet Union. But Barbara Flynn Redgate, who, excuse me, I interviewed on our radio show, and I released it because our subscribers asked me to on this YouTube platform. If you haven't listened to that interview with Barbara Flynn Redgate, the sister of General Michael Flynn, you need to, because the information that was presented has not seen the light of day by the bought-off lamestream fake media, including Fox. But what Lisa Page in the past day has been shooting her mouth off about being a victim, Barbara Flynn Redgate tweeted this, and Barbara, you gotta love her. She's brutal and she's honest. Here's what she says. Lisa Page, to be the scorned victim whose life has been ruined by the President of the United States, instead of the real vindictive, conniving, coup texting, 302 altering, in General Flynn's case, con of a lawyer she is, who helped ruin the FBI, our entire justice system, as well as many lives along the way, lock her up. Yeah, lock her up. But Inspector General Horowitz can't lock her up. He cannot indict her. He can recommend prosecution. The lock her up comes from Attorney General Barr and Prosecutor Durham. December 9th, the Inspector General report gets released. December 11th, he speaks in front of Congress. Focus on what the meat of the issue is, because the deep state is going to try to push this off. And people that are pushing the deep state narrative are going to say, oh, this wasn't there, that wasn't there, this isn't. Please don't buy into that. Please don't buy into that. Inspector General Horowitz's mandate was to look at the FISA applications and whether they were legit. That's the key. That's the key. Because all those who signed off on them and were knowledgeable about them, not just Comey on the first three, not just McCabe and Rosenstein on the last, but Mueller, his 19 attorneys, his 40 FBI agents, all who kept their silence when this was presented to the FISA Court, are on the hook. I hope you'll join us at davejanda.com, both the free side where we upload information on a regular basis and the subscription side. I believe one of the biggest bangs for the buck in all the internet, $9 a month. You can sign up for a month. If you don't like it, get rid of it. But the information we provide you will not see, hear, read, or experience in the bought-off lamestream fake media. Through our WTF Geopolitical show, our Insider Insight show, our Department of Advanced Research show, all of the archives, our contributing editor section, our healthcare policy series, all available as a subscriber at davejanda.com. I hope you become part of our Freedom family. And you'll listen to our radio show every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. The show is free, live. If you want the podcast, that's part of the subscription service. I thank you for your time, and I hope you'll network this information to anyone and everyone you know. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.